Yeah. Like this man called Tom Butler again, Reverend Tom Butler, and things like that.
And is that where you met your wife?
No. Where I got saved was our elders in the chapel, they would begin to take maybe one or two of us with them when they went preaching, the local preachers as well as the ministers. And then after that, you'd read the lesson or give the notices out or share a bit of testimony. But if you hadn't got a testimony, you couldn't give one.
That's true.
But and then after a while, there was actually two groups. I was in the youngest group. There was two groups of about 5 people. So there was a carload of people went to preach maybe on a Sunday morning, not Sunday mornings for me because we were busy, but Sunday evenings by and large. So one would do the hymns, one would do the lesson, one would do the prayer, one would do the benediction, those kind of things. We all took turns. Boys were mainly boys and girls, but young men, young women. And then, so one night we'd been preaching up in a little village called Ellin String near Masson. And I'd been doing the preach. Everybody else. Now, we had a bit of fun as well because we made a little pact of our own that people get invited, you get invited for a bit of supper. That was a good Methodist thing as well. So we decided, 5 of us, yes, whatever they put on the table, we'll finish off. Anyway, so that was a bit of fun. But on the way down from Ellinstring down through Ellington, there's a corner there at the end of the village, and you go down there like that and turn the corner, round the corner. The Methodist church is in that corner there.
Okay.
In fact, somebody wanted to know what it was, and I took them to see it the other day. Still there is that little corner and that little church. And right on that corner, I was sat in the middle between the 2 people. God spoke to me. They didn't hear, apparently. I never said another word all the way home. But, do you really know me? I never said another word.
Wow.
Got out of that car at Snape, went down the fields. Then, that night, Sunday night, Dad and Mother were in bed. My 2 brothers, of course, had gone away from the farm altogether in different places. And I cried. I jumped. I didn't cry there at that moment, but I thought, yes, Dad and Mother, I'll drop down on my knees at my bedside where Dad and Mother knelt beside us to pray, gentle Jesus, make him mild. And I cried out, Lord, help. I do really want to know you, please. And that night, I know that I got born again. I became a Christian that night.
Wow.
So that was the first time God has spoken to me.
And has he spoken to you since?
Yes. Only 3 times altogether. That went on well, as thanks to the Lord. I've been the same ever since. Born again, I can remember that. The second time was, I was a bit later. I was going out with a nice young lady from the church, one of the churches, and maybe for about 6 or 8 months.
Okay.
Anyway, she was a singer. So there was a little church on the way up to Pateley Bridge one Sunday afternoon, all those years ago, and I was the speaker. My girlfriend was with me, sat down there, and then Cynthia was singing. And as she was singing, this voice said, "That's the girl I've got for you." What about that? Anyway, I did tell my girlfriend very well straight away. And so she said, okay, if that's what God's saying to you, I release you.
Very nice.
Right. And the climax of that was there was a bit of unrest amongst the families because Jim's gone queer. Jim's gone strange. But the final thing about that was the fact that my best friend married Mary, the girl that was sat there next to me,
Yeah.
the week before we got married.
Wow.
Cynthia and myself. So that's the second time. And the third time, since you asked, how then I'm finished with those things, they've been wonderful. We were one Thursday night, now we were down, now living together, married several years, and we were going to Northallerton.
Mm-hmm.
We lived in the next village down the road. And as we, on a Thursday night, passing this farm, which I hadn't noticed, but anyway, we're passing it. There was a big notice outside saying, up for sale. It was next Wednesday. This was Thursday evening. And as we passed that place, we both heard the voice. The voice was, I want that place for my glory.
Wow.
We never went to the meeting, Christian meeting, went back home. And what shall we do? We knelt in the kitchen floor and said, please, Lord, help. What do we do? Where do we start? You've got to tell us what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Bible study notes that we were reading was very coincidental because we were given several orders through those Bible studies each day. And one of them happened to be, go and visit your neighbour.
Okay.
That was written down,
Yeah.
right? And so, so go and see this neighbour. Now, the neighbour was the neighbour that lived across there, just across
From here,
road.
where we're speaking, yeah.
And the other side of the railway, main line, there, London to Edinburgh. So I went to see him.
Life Stories Worldwide is on YouTube, and it's very easy to subscribe to our channel. Just click the bell and subscribe, and receive notifications of when we are live, or simply watch any of our other videos. So check it out and give us a visit.
And he said, can't talk about it because my friend that has the farmer there at that corner, that way, he's talking about getting the land, and we're getting the buildings. So can't talk. And so went home, said, Cynthia, can't do anything. On the morning, by dinner time, he phoned up. He said, Jim, can you come across and see me? He said, if you're interested, he's not, my neighbour. And so let's talk. And we talked, and we got a figure, went to the sale that following week, few days, and bought the farm.
Wow. So that's the basic beginning of Hollybush Farm.
That was the beginning of anything to do with Hollybush Farm.
Excellent. Was that 1968, was it, I think, was it?
Well, we were married in 57 down there, so 11 years down there, and then here.
1968, excellent.
11 years later.
And did you ever dream that it would grow so big?
No. It's amazing. It's a miracle. It is a miracle. Why am I still here at 93? I mean, it's a miracle.
Tell us what it was like at the very beginning of Hollybush, when you started your meetings.
Well, down there at the other farm, we did have a prayer meeting on a Friday night of local preachers and anybody else that wanted to come. And there were several local preachers and other people came. So we got about 20 people down there on a Friday night, talking about the Bible mainly, and seeing people come to the Lord. So what do we do next? got the place. So it was to refurbish a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we moved eventually. And Gabriella, our daughter, was in the front. I left space in the front of the trailer in those days. Like, not a cattle trailer. This was a trailer for carting stuff about on the farm, amongst all the stuff that came up here into the house. That's what started. So we continued with that. And there was about 30, 40 people began to come eventually.
Wow. Okay.
And it was an upstairs room over there in the house. That's where it started, and that's where the prayer meetings began from.
How big was the room if you had 30 or 40 people in it?
It's the biggest room in the house upstairs. Right. And that's where it was.
So, okay.
We could just get 40 in.
Okay, then. So where did you go from there, from the house?
We moved out of the house after a time up into this granary.
Upstairs here?
Yes.
Okay.
That could get in about 100.
Okay.
And so that's the time when we started having other speakers from other places to come and preach the word.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you yourself, Jim, have you had any Bible training or have been to Bible college or anything like that to be a pastor or anything like that?
I've read my Bible. I know my Bible fairly well, right from early years.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But more so, like I say, I keep looking back now, and this Reverend C.R. Ransom that returned from the Middle East is the man that planted a lot of things in my heart and spirit, because he was a genuine man that said, look, I'm helpless. I'm supposed to be the preacher. I'm supposed to be the man that's led of God. And I'm stood here for a year wondering what's happening to me. Nothing's happening. And it's all happening round about me.
Okay.
So these dear ones, they've never been to church except what he's been telling them.
Wow.
So I still got those things in the back of my spirit. Yeah.
So are you considered the pastor here or just Jim?
I became a pastor. I've always been a local preacher since I was 17, 18.
Okay.
And so eventually we were here living on the premises. More people turned up, and then things began to happen that we never thought of till we got here, about having meetings in the open air in the local village towns round about.
Okay.
And so more people began to come until that place got full every Saturday night.
Upstairs here?
Yeah, upstairs in summer. And all we need to do is put a notice outside on the gate, and people passing by turned in. And more and more people accepted the Lord.
Wow.
So where do you put them? So eventually, it's a time factor as well.
Of course, yeah.
It's 50 odd years in this.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Time factor, more people are saying yes. And eventually, we asked the question, they said, right, Jim, will you be pastor? I said, well, if you want, I'll be willing to take that on. And
Excellent.
Cynthia and myself will be the leaders if you want me to.
Excellent. So it kept growing. This place upstairs was full. Where did you go from there, Jim?
From there, well, we applied for planning permission.
Okay.
For what we call the little church. That was built in 1979.
Okay.
That was an old place upstairs for the corn, and downstairs it was for horses and cattle.
Wow.
Yeah, originally. And so that was opened. It holds about 120 people. And where did the money come from? People just gave.
Excellent.
We've had no bring and buy sales or anything like that, or no special events. But the money came in for that.
Excellent. So it's even grown. It's grown bigger again, hasn't it? From the small church across the road here.
Yes.
So tell us about how you came to the latest building that you have.
What, the new one?
The new one, yeah.
Well, that got fairly full. And I mean, one thing that has happened, once a year, we've had this annual meeting, annual camp.
Okay. Life Stories Worldwide is broadcast live every Monday night at 8 p.m. UK time. We broadcast on YouTube, Facebook, and StreamYard. Why not join us every Monday night at 8 p.m. UK time for Life Stories Worldwide.
They've locked down for 2 years, which has really made a big mess of the money, finance. But anyway, that's how it is. It has been. And so it was to do with more space for people. And so that one was built, was started in 1998 and finished completely in 2000.
Wow.
So that's been going all that time. People still have been coming.
Excellent.
People from all over the world have been, speakers have been coming here.
So
well known and not very well known.
I meant to ask you that. I mean, you've had a lot of well-known speakers and normal people as well. Of all the speakers that have come to speak here at Hollybush, is there any of them that have made a lasting impression on you?
Yes, there's several. Most of them have, in that sense, because I'm thankful the way the Lord's called me. You asked a question early on about Bible school. For me, no, I've never been to a Bible school apart from at Cliff College on that Whit Sunday afternoon or Whit Monday, whichever it was. And so, but we've had some wonderful speakers who have been Bible teachers coming here.
Right. Mainly
from Britain, of course, but more so, we've had some evangelists and men that are still around. Some are a lot older. Well, I was going to say older, not many older than me now, but there have been some real pioneers that have taken the time to be here at Hollybush and maybe stay for a week with us, not just for Cynthia and myself, but rather having a week of prayer meetings and things, or a week of reading the Bible and studying it together, if you know what I mean. And so it's to do with growing yourself and at the same time being grown.
Yeah.
It takes a bit of understanding. And again, I'm amazed. How do I get to this age? You know, when I got to 60, I thought, yeah, great. You know, this last 20 years just gone like that.
They do,
I'm 93.
Especially when you get older, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm thankful. Now, Cynthia, of course, went home to be with the Lord just a year gone, February.
I remember Cynthia, actually. Yeah.
Died in my arm.
Lovely lady.
This arm.
Beautiful lady.
Why should it be that my mother should die in this arm 40 odd years ago?
Wow.
I'm a blessed man. I can't explain it. I'm not saying everybody should do that. All I know is that I'm so blessed. And Cynthia was the same.
Wow.
Until she got called home. She enjoyed the singing. She's made hundreds of people, led hundreds of people to the Lord.
Okay, so you were talking about Cynthia and how she loved singing and she led hundreds to the Lord.
Yes, yes. And I didn't know that because most times we've been going out together. I've always done that, kept together. Apart from the amazing thing is, it's all in the book. There's this, or most of it. Some of it isn't, because you can't put everything in the book. But things have come back to me, you see. 1976. Demas Shakarian came to Britain.
Wow.
Cynthia was singing at that place in London that night, that hotel. 800 people were there, from which FGB started.
Great. Brilliant, yeah.
Right. Now then, also Women's Aglow started been in about the same 6 months. What again about that? Well, FGB, I got to know Demas firsthand.
Wow.
Because he was there. I happened to be there to take Cynthia down.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been involved with both those. She's been involved with both those. Not to every meeting.
Mm-hmm.
She's been involved with Women's Law, with Vikram's his wife, and things like that. And so, hey, is it all coincidence?
I don't think so.
Is it all coincidence? It can't be. You can't arrange those things beforehand.
No.
and so we were able to be in both camps at the same time.
So tell me, what was Demas like as a man? Because I've read about him, but never actually met him.
He was a very gentle man who was full of joy in the Lord.
Wow. You've had lots of preachers. Have you ever thought, when one of the preachers was speaking, this guy is not the full Bible? For anybody that came and spoke for you.
It's hard to define.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really. We've enjoyed and appreciated both ways.
Okay.
All down the line, as though that has been put before us. I just see it as though, hey, Lord, you've been with me in the power of the Holy Spirit all this time, and it's you that's been guiding me.
Yeah.
We've never asked for any place. We've been invited to so many places down the years. How did we get all that time to go with the farm to run, as well as the church to run?
Exactly.
But there's been my God must be a wonderful person, because again, I'm saying, why am I here today at this age? Okay, the Lord may call me home tonight, I don't know, but at this moment, as far as I know, I'm healthy.
Excellent.
And that's all I can be. Yeah. But I never expected anywhere like this. Never expected all this, but it has developed as required.
So when you look back over the years and see all that developed with the farm and Hollybush and the meetings, how does that make you feel?
I feel humbled. I'm not proud. I'm resting on the number of people, and I don't know who they all are, apart from one area where one of the people that were looking after us here in the office, she was doing the typing and everything, still here with us, but she put a group of things together in one book about what came about Cynthia. It's all about Cynthia.
I see, yeah.
Now, I began to read that book because